I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Monday, July 14th. We begin in Labrador, where some members of the Innu Nation have set up a road blockade, one that's forced Hydro-Québec to pause geological work on a proposed hydroelectric dam site on disputed lands. Angel Moore reports.
What I will not stand is Quebec Hydro giving us a deadline on our land for our river for their money.
This is a roadblock set up by Innu community members to prevent workers from entering the site to conduct a geological assessment on behalf of Quebec Hydro for a proposed hydroelectric project.
It's utterly ridiculous and stupid in my perspective.
Jerome Jack Achis is from the Sheshashit Innu Nation. He is at Gull Island, where the Innu of Sheshashit and Natwashish gather every year in September to return to the land. The road blockade is about 2 kilometers away. He says community members will protect the Innu lands.
Because we don't need the companies. The companies need us. Because this is Innu land. We're proud of it. I'm going to protect it. I'll protect it. Hopefully when I'm passed and gone, there's going to be more Innu people protecting our land as well.
Percy Montague is 17 years old. He spoke on the community's radio station, CJIK-FM. He says the youth need to be included in discussions on the proposed deal.
The Innu Nation should make decisions for the future, not for right now. That's my final message.
Montague is talking about last June, when the Innu Nation entered an agreement in principle with Hydro-Québec. The Quebec company would pay $87 million to a reconciliation fund over 16 years. Part of the agreement includes the development of the Gull Island hydroelectric dam. The youth are planning a 1-kilometer walk from Sheshashit to Gull Island to raise awareness of the proposed deal.
I'm against it due to the terms that are being brought up. And plus, this is Innu land. I don't believe that our land should be developed for money. I believe our culture is way more important.
Innu community members of Sheshashit and Natwashish have till the fall to accept or decline the agreement. However, Montague says they can get a better deal.
The Innu is just not benefiting from these deals as much as they should be. These deals happen on Innu land, these projects happen on Innu land, and yet Innu get nothing. And these corporations profit billions.
Hydro-Québec said in an email to APTN News they will continue dialogue with community members. Achis says despite Hydro-Québec's paused work order, the blockade will not be removed.
I'm against this because this land is not going to be our land when we perish. I'm over 40 years old. I believe my generation should not be involved in these type of deals. I believe that the younger generation should have and preserve this land as much as they can.
The Innu Nation did not respond to an interview request. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Japutuk, also known as Halifax.
Turning to Montreal, where insulting remarks towards Indigenous people has led to the withdrawal of an elected official. Kim Sullivan has more.
Enrique Machado was elected city councillor with the Project Montreal Municipal Party in November 2021. Machado also served on several city hall commissions, including one on culture, heritage, and sports. Recently, in a comment to a user on the social media platform TikTok, he wrote what translates into English as, "Ha ha ha, Venezuelans are like Indigenous people. You give them mirrors and shiny things, and they're amazed." Machado did post an apology on his personal Facebook page Tuesday, saying his clumsy remarks do not reflect his thoughts or values. He has since set his social media profiles to private. Montreal Mayor Valérie Plante was, until recently, the leader of Projet Montréal and remains part of the party. They both had this to say about Machado's comment. The values of inclusion, respect, and the need to actively contribute to reconciliation with Indigenous peoples are at the heart of the principles guiding Projet Montréal's mission. Mr. Machado's comments are at odds with the values of our party, our leader, and the mayor. Machado chose to withdraw from municipal politics and will not seek another mandate.
Some nonprofit leaders in Winnipeg are speaking out after a recent funding decision by the City of Winnipeg concerning mobile street outreach. Sierra Bettens explains why.
From serving meals to connecting people to housing.
Hi, how are you doing today?
The West Central Women's Resource Center's Street Outreach Van has been a lifeline for women and gender-diverse folks in Winnipeg. But the organization is parking it indefinitely due to funding shortfalls. It's a loss Executive Director Lori English says will leave a sizable gap for the people they serve, about 70% of whom are Indigenous.
It's not just a loss of those essential services, it's also a loss of the connection to sustained housing.
English says the resource center previously received outreach funding through the province. Then, in April, the province shifted the funding to the city of Winnipeg. In May, English found out that applicants for the city's outreach contract were required to provide 24/7 mobile services.
That's not a position that we were able to take because the funding available through the city was very limited, and it wasn't sufficient to have a van on the road 24/7, so that left us without any funding options.
Between 2022 and 2024, the city divided $550,000 in annual outreach funding among 3 organizations. On June 30th, Main Street Project was awarded the city's only $275,000 outreach contract for the second half of 2025. It's a responsibility their executive director, Jamil Mahmood, is honored to take on, but he still believes more boots are needed on the ground.
We wouldn't think you could have one police car or one ambulance for the entire city. So we shouldn't kind of consider outreach that. It is an essential emergency service. So we feel very strongly that there should be multiple outreach organizations. There are. We work very closely with all of them, but there definitely needs to be more funding.
APTN reached out to the province and the city of Winnipeg for comment. A spokesperson from the city said Main Street Project was awarded the contract after receiving the highest evaluation score. A provincial spokesperson said the city of Winnipeg funds outreach services for the joint Your Way Home strategy, and that the province has provided $896,600 in annual funding to the West Central Women's Resource Centre. Beyond the numbers, English says the real cost of service cuts is relationships.
We do a lot of trust building with those folks to get them connected to supports and then eventually to housing. Severing those relationships means that we will have to reestablish them if we're able to secure funding going forward.
Both directors hope to see increased provincial and municipal investments in outreach.
I hope the message out of this whole thing is we need more investment in outreach, and it needs to be, a holistic investment in all the needs in our community.
In the meantime, Mahmood says Main Street Project is partnering with Resource Assistance for Youth to broaden their outreach service and will continue to work closely with the organizations across the city. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
To the Yukon, where a First Nation made headlines last month for its purchase of the Minto mine. And as Sarah Connors tells us, they've taken steps toward making the mine operational.
The Selkirk First Nation has teamed up with a venture company with the aim of restarting production at the Minto mine. The First Nation, located in central Yukon, completed its purchase of the Minto mine last month for around $6 million. The copper gold mine is located on Selkirk settlement land. The mine's former owner, Minto Minerals, abandoned the site in 2023 after running into financial problems, and the mine was placed into a court-ordered receivership. Vancouver-based company Venerable Ventures will pay $15 million in shares to the First Nation to buy its subsidiary, which technically owns the site. Once the transaction is complete, the new entity will be called Selkirk Copper Mine Inc., and the First Nation will be its biggest shareholder. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
And that's your APTN News Brief for Monday, July 14th. I'm Rick Harp.